Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe exposed APC as they import bandits come to Nigeria. I tell you people that you see this thing where they happen for Nigeria. The government, APC government, know wetin dey happen. Started from Buhari as they are struggling to remove Goodluck Jonathan, the former president of Nigeria, and now the bandits wey dey import from Chad, from Niger, enter inside Nigeria. Those ones no wan comot again. E don over them. Now Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe don come outside make the clarification of how this APC import banditry come for Nigeria, and this banditry has spread across all the whole Nigeria as we are talking right now. This is what is currently happening, and the truth is coming out. Watch this video. Guys, it's still there for Balabas Gist. Please share and subscribe to this channel.
Trying to remove Jonathan, there were stateless persons that were from the Sahel region that were imported into Nigeria, and a former chairman of PDP made that statement. I'm not the person that made it.
But that importation is a fact, is it?
That importation is a fact. If we go back in time, this is a matter that we raised long time once the Buhari regime started. Don't forget, what has happened in Nigeria is that most of the time when something comes up today, we never sit back and say, how did we get to this point? We got to this point by virtue of the fact of the effort to remove President Jonathan. There had always been this herder-farmer clash, but it never got to this point where whole communities were exterminated so that some people will be roaming freely within their land, which is what happens in Plateau and in Benue State.
I think Benue is the worst hit.
Precisely. Yeah. And you know why? Because most of the banks of the Benue is lush because it's watered by the Benue River. And so these people came and they want. And who are these people? And that's a question that we have not dealt with. The bill first said that we have to confine these people to the ranches within their states of origin. And somebody woke up and said, no, every Nigerian has a right to go around. There's no such thing like a state of origin. Why will anybody make that statement? Reason is that in trying to remove Jonathan, there were stateless persons that were from the Sahel region that were imported into Nigeria, and a former chairman of PDP made that statement. I'm not the person that made it.
But that importation is a fact, is it?
That importation is a fact. If you ask any Nigerian Fulani, he will tell you that there's something called the Bororo Fulani, and that Bororo Fulani are these imported ones. They don't own land. Therefore, what they want to do is to settle in Nigeria. They were given free passage, let me just say it, by the Buhari regime. And we were shouting at that time, don't bring people into Nigeria who are not Nigerians. They won't have sympathy. They won't know what has happened. All they want to do is displace you, take over your place, and roam freely within that place.
But there were cattle herders as well.
They were, but the Nigerian cattle herders were not carrying AK-47 rifles and other.
So these guys brought their guns.
So these guys brought their guns with them. First thing they did was to start to rustle the cattle belonging to Nigerians. And so a Nigerian herder who loses his cattle, has nowhere else to go, he becomes part of them. Because he is given, okay, you either join us or you got nothing. And some of them, of course, joined. And so we have this complicated problem. And this complicated problem is what we want to solve by saying, can we confine you to a particular place? If you have, okay, what you want to do is to move your cattle from where there is grass to another place where there is grass, and you can roam around with them. And I also pointed out on the floor of the Senate that Governor Ganduje at a particular time said, my state, Kano, has more than enough land for all the herders in Nigeria to go around with it. We must make mention that this is not just didn't start now. It's a way, and some people in the Senate will get up and tell you, but it's a way of life. How do you change? No. It was a way of life for us to kill twins. It was also a way of life for us to bury
so there's got to be some
people.
kind of
so
change.
there must have to be
Evolutionary change.
It's an evolutionary change, and that comes with education.
Right.
So where the real problem is rather than us struggling to make sure that everybody has education, everybody has a change, everybody moves with the new things today. Some people want to leave some citizens to stay, let them just stay where they are as illiterate, uneducated, herders roaming around and killing people.
Yeah, but the point is that there are different types of education. There's obviously the education where you go to school and start learning your ABCs from the very start up to the end. There's the other form of education, which is educating people about this new ranching proposal. Is there going to be a period of consultation? Because you're not going to educate those people. You're not going to put them through school, but you can educate them, those people who are most likely to be affected by this new ranching proposal. Because the herders, for instance, who, as you've said, are uneducated, they're suspicious of authority, they need to be convinced, as do the farmers who are worried about their land and farms.
Why would they not be? If we suppose all the people who say we are elite, we tell people what to do. If you can tell somebody what to do in elections and say vote for A or B or C, why will you not be able to tell them how to improve their lives? In fact, it's very funny that they themselves, some of my colleagues, will tell you that, that the Nigerian cow, that the yield from milk is so low and all that, but that the yield from the one that is in an environment that is and that the meat is more tender, is bigger and all that. They will tell you all this, but the point is, why don't you want to do it? Why do you want another citizen to be a second-class citizen?
Well, the point here really, Senator, is that if there, I'm wondering whether along with this proposed ranching bill, there is an education component.
Obviously. The point really is that everything is encompassed within it. All it takes is the willingness to do it. And of course, we have said that since the bill has passed the second reading, so it's going to go to the point where everybody will be invited. So we invite Mieti Allah. We invite the Nigerian Farmers Association from each state and all that. We invite each governor because they also have a role to play. Then, when everyone is there, what are the issues that we will now have to deal with? It's just for us to be able to talk to each other with an open mind.
So there's still a long process.
Of course, there's a process that we must have to pass through. But what we don't want is a situation where, whenever the matter comes up, all manners of obstacles are put on the way to make sure that Nigerians will continue to be at each other's throat, and non-Nigerians are coming in and killing Nigerians and taking over their land, because that is another subset of the problem. Of course, it's a problem that everybody is looking at and people are avoiding to talk about it. We cannot avoid to talk about it. Whole villages, areas of the plateau, of the Benue, and even stretching all the way now to Enugu State, down to my own state in Abia. Why? Would somebody come and say, we're just going to let our cows to graze, and if you complain, they kill you because they have the high-powered rifles which the farmer
Right.
Does not have.
But let me ask you this. I mean, what is your sense of how this is moving through the National Assembly?
It's going well.
Right.
Because when we came to do the voting for the second reading of the bill, we could see an overwhelming support for it. Every Nigerian tired of this. We were never like this. In the 60s and all that, there may be a few clashes, but it was always resolved by the Sariki of the whoever is the Hada Sariki then, and they will pay compensation and people will go. Not today. Today people are killed and removed from their land, and you now find this anomaly, and all of us should be ashamed of ourselves that within Nigeria in 2024, in several states we have what we call IDPs. It was never like that before. And so, you are in Benue. Senator Titus Zam, who proposed the bill, told us on the floor of the Senate that part of his senatorial zone in Benue State, they are in IDP camps. Who sent you to an IDP camp in Benue State? There's no Boko Haram there. There's nothing. It's a Hada. So you ask yourself, where would the Hada come from to come to Benue and kill people and send orders to an IDP camp?
I think you used the word an anomaly, and it's
an
certainly
anomaly.
very anomalous.
It's an anomaly. And we need to always deal with this. And you know, because now there's a mixture of all manners of things. There are banditry, there's this, there's that. And so when you're talking about it, then there's a whole lot of things that are involved in it.
So people try to separate the different
precisely.
bits and pieces.
And I know that a lot of my colleagues are worried. We had a discussion with the former governor of Niger State, and he said, listen, as governor, I looked at this matter. I looked for the old grazing routes. There's explosion in people now living, so they have closed that. But I found out that there were in old ranching sites, which he said he went to the Kaduna registry to find. And so that what he now did was to recover those ranching sites and say, okay, if you come as a header, you go to this ranching site. But you know what? Some refused. Why? Because there's another agenda. It is not ranching that is
right. But who's behind that agenda?
That is where we need to, as Nigerians, sit together, talk together, and find out who is destabilizing Nigeria.
Yeah, but
with this.
you guys are in the Senate talking together. I mean, that's why you're elected to go to the Senate.
Precisely.
So there are people, representatives from different parts of Nigeria.
Yes.
What are the people from that part of the country saying? What is their justification for opposing this grazing, this ranching bill?
You know, the point really is that when you're engaging with your colleagues, you want to find out what is really the problem. Of course, you find what they feel, or some of them
My people, shebi don't hear am. May you know wetin dey happen for inside Nigeria and for southeast. They try to carry and give IPOB. They try to carry and give Nnamdi Kanu. When na wetin they create, now they disturb them. Just that Nnamdi Kanu told them the truth, and that's why they hold Nnamdi Kanu. However, share this video and drop your own opinion in the comment section.